For the last 50 years, politics has become nothing but a battlefield, and we the people are over it. It's time to restore our republic. Did you know that there are patriots who are suing the political elites on behalf of the American people? We have started a movement called M90USA, and to hear our story, tune in to the No, It's About the Republic show. Find out about our movement and how you can get involved to help retake our great republic.
We need people doing that, and we've got a little over 1,200 people subscribed to the email list now. We jumped from 580 last week to over 1,200 this week, so we're getting some good progress. But people, we need you to take and cut, paste, copy, www.M90USA, your social media, put it there, promote the videos, push them around, challenge people, talk to people in your office, your family, your churches. People are going, I don't want to talk about politics, it's just going to be a fight. No, if you don't talk about this now, you're going to get in a fight, but it's not going to be a fight of words. My biggest concern here from seeing foreign countries, from being in communist countries, being in very nasty places in the world through my career, is what happens when those in power solidify their power. Mm-hmm. What happens next? Now, John will tell you I'm the biggest person to say the brown shirts are not on the streets yet. He's heard me say that 1,000 times. The brown shirts are not on the streets yet.
And I've told him he's wrong.
The fact of the matter is we do know a gentleman who is a Purple Heart recipient who was arrested by the FBI on a misdemeanor. And he stood in front of a judge today for bail, and the judge denied him because he has PTSD and he wasn't taking his medication, and he's not violent. He's got a family of kids. I talked to his wife. His wife was almost in tears. The kids were crying in the back seat because Dad simply went to D.C. to express his First Amendment rights, and he saved 2 police officers from being crushed, and that makes him violent. Police officers said, "Can you help me?" And he pulled them out to help him, and the FBI and the federal government, DOJ, has gone after him and said, we're going to charge him for misdemeanors for trespass and interference with a federal election. A misdemeanor. If you're in a big city, if you're in a small city, call your cops up and say, my next door neighbor committed a misdemeanor. Can you come over and arrest him? And they'll go, we've got crime. We've got real crimes to deal with. They've probably spent $5 million chasing Josh James down. Okay? And they're making an example of him. You take a veteran, I'm a veteran, you take a veteran who saved a police officer's life and you prosecute him, you destroy his business, his family's getting death threats, his wife doesn't know if it's safe to go back to her home. This is what the left people, these trolls, do. And I'm tired of it. I hate it. The fact of the matter, it makes me so angry because they're cowards. I have more respect for somebody coming in a room saying, let's talk, I don't agree with you. And they can scream at me all day long. We'll sit there and I'll talk and listen to them. They scream and everything else. I know Paul's heard it. I know John's heard it. And the fact is, but when somebody wants to come up and make a threat, we're all pretty good-sized guys. You better start swinging hard because we're swinging back. You don't attack a man's wife. You don't attack a man's child. And why the fuck is the FBI out chasing somebody over a misdemeanor?
Well, now I got to change the rating on the show.
Okay.
Steve went over an hour without saying that.
I'm gonna have to bleep that out later.
No, you're not. I'm leaving it in. The fact of the matter is, I am pissed.
I am too. And the thing that the people have to understand is that just because, just if we, when we win this lawsuit, that's not going to be enough. It's not going to be over. Right. It's something that we have to continue to do. It's like your lawn. You can't just go out and treat your lawn once for weeds and the weeds are gone. You have to do it every year. You have to do it every time. You got to go out. You got to take those weeds out. You got to get rid of them because they're just going to grow right back up again if you don't do something about it. And if we don't step up now, we're going to lose our republic. We're going to lose it hard and we're going to lose it fast. So everybody needs to get up, get out, and help us.
We're going to lose the illusion of our republic. We haven't had one, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sitting here trying to figure out exactly who the next Paul Revere is. Okay, is it one of us? Probably, maybe. I don't know. But Paul.
I know a guy with a horse.
Man, we can go.
I know a guy named Paul.
Hey, there you go. Paul stated his
Who we
desire.
revere.
Yeah, there you go. That was horrible. That was a dad joke.
Hey, no, that was a good.
I'm
way to get
bleeping
in
that
there.
shit out.
Hey,
Anyway,
come on,
okay.
man.
Thank you.
Getting back to this,
Clean
is
it up, man. Come
Paul
on.
said.
It's
Paul
a
said.
family-friendly show.
And not today. It's not. Paul said that he wants to build the nation's most largest and premier civil rights law firm.
Yes.
Attacking the injustices. Okay. M90USA has already set up a foundation for that. It's called the Centuries Foundation to support that effort. And I'm proud to announce that we have done that. We've formulated 501c4 to help with the grassroots effort. We have people around the nation that we're talking to about getting on the grassroots side of the equation. M90USA is not a here today, gone tomorrow organization. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'll give you my word. As long as I'm breathing, we're going to keep this sucker alive. As long as there is a star on the banner that has a choice to fly over a possible republic. If you ever see me pull that flag down, you better start running. You literally better start running, because the republic is over at that point in time, and it's all along like Donkey Kong. We're fighting. I've been in countries where I've seen people throw lead at each other. I don't want it in this United States, but the fact is, people, if you're not active, if you're not getting up, showing up, and doing, get up, show up, do. Get up, show up, do. If you're not capable of doing that, God help you, because you were warned. Now, that's a very hard spot to end on. Anybody else got something positive or affirming to say? Because I don't like leaning on a bummer.
Well, all I can say is that it's good, and it does my heart good to see people like yourself stepping up, standing up, and doing something about what's been frustrating me for so long, and giving me an opportunity to step up and help, and giving me a place to go do something. And if M90USA is nothing, it's a place to get up and do something.
Are you
So
talking about me?
please.
You're talking to me or Paul about this? By the
I'm
way?
talking to both of you.
Oh man,
Yeah.
we're proud to have you around. We're proud to. If anybody has not seen this man's film credits, he's an amazing guy. He's very talented. He does all the videos for us right now. He's the voiceover king, voice like butter. Okay, and a very talented guy. And I'm going to state this to you: get up, show up, do. If you are in the Dallas area, and you have a passion for our republic, info@m90usa.com. Send us an email. We'll get in contact with you. We'll figure everything out. And we'll move from there. If you are a passionate person listening to this podcast for the first time, or getting in contact and you want to donate money, if you don't want to do $5 or $10 a month to each one of those buttons on the website, okay, and hit each button, just not the legal fund, because people won't know about the lawsuit and won't know about the changes and things going on, so they can join the lawsuit if we don't exist here on the media side. Because we're the only people talking about it, and we have we're putting a video up about all the news agencies that have shut down this story, and we'll be talking about it. We are the mouse that roared.
Yeah.
We're the thorn in the side of the establishment. I hope Nancy Pelosi, within 6 months, curses my name every night before she goes to sleep. That she goes, "It's not, I hate that, damn it, it's about the Republic show." No, Nancy, it's about the Republic show.
Yeah, come on, say it right.
Say it right.
Paul,
Say it, Nancy, say it.
How would somebody become a part of the class?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. And first, I meant to say this earlier with the email. You can also follow me on Parler is my main thing where I post stuff. It's just The Real Paul Davis. And then I'm also on MeWe at Paul Loves America. And Gab, I think, is the same handle.
Paul loves America.
Yeah. And so, I post information there regularly. And as far as joining as a class action person, what you need to do right now is get on M90 and, spare a cup of coffee and send us some money, because we're trying to get this lawsuit off the ground. We need to serve the defendants, and, I get the
714 defendants.
Yeah, the most common
What,
question.
about $500 a defendant it costs to serve one? That, $500-600 normally?
Probably. I mean, if you serve by process server, I mean, that's a whole. It's going to be a lot of money.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
Most people don't understand the legal process, and the fact of the matter is, Paul can submit documents to the court, but the fact is there has to be service to the other parties, and there's all these motions he's going to be filing to try to cut the cost down. But the fact of the matter is, because this is such a graphic crime. 4 people in each state, 50 states, that's 200 plus the 3 districts, that's another 12. So that's 212 plus 435 in Congress, plus in the House, plus another 65 in the Senate, plus Mark Zuckerberg and his crew, plus Jack Dorsey and his crew, and plus two others. I want to shout out to Elon Musk. You're not a defendant. Thank God I might be coming and talking to you before long. The fact is we need your help too. The fact that we got to do here is you look at
We
the
might have to get off planet soon.
Yes, I might. Yeah, I don't want to be in a roadster though. But when you look at this, you're talking about, people get your calculator out. $500 times, just round it up, 800 people.
Yeah. That's
Okay, what's that? 200 grand plus?
About, yeah.
No, it's like
Eight
no,
times
no,
four?
that's 400 grand.
Yeah. Like,
I look
Yeah,
good.
5 times 8 is 40,
And for the people who are looking at me on the screen, I've got a face for radio, but I am smarter than that. I just can't do math in my head anymore. Evidently, 400 grand. 400 grand.
yeah. Well,
Well,
like I
not
said,
to
we're
mention,
gonna
how
try
long
to
have you guys been doing this?
How long have
How long have you been doing this? Yeah,
I guess we
about
filed,
3 months now.
Well, we filed the initial version on January 17th, just before midnight.
January,
Right, so
February,
about-
March. Holy
Yeah.
it's been 3 months.
I know.
So
isn't that
three.
crazy?
You guys have been working on this 3 months. I've been working on this a month, and we're basically volunteers.
Yeah. Well, the
I
good
mean,
thing is
you've been gracious enough to take care of some of my expenses, but
Yeah, it works.
one great thing about the fact that we had to get out of the old one and file a new one is you have 90 days since after filing to serve the lawsuit. So it gives us a little bit of time. But to answer your question, we will, after we serve the lawsuit, which is why I was saying we need money to serve it.
Right.
Right. Then we will file a motion for class action certification, which the representatives that are in the case right now, the representatives of the class, and once that get approved, then we will send one of those mailers out, and that's going to cost a lot.
That's
of money
going to cost
too.
a lot of money because
A
that's
lot
got to go to
more,
everybody.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we figured this out that if you had to try this in every county in the country, it would cost.
Is
like
there a
20,
way to do that digitally?
Wait a second.
I don't know.
Well, I want people to understand the graphic nature of this. The NAACP came up with this great spreadsheet analysis and said, okay, to sue a county in this nation for an election fraud issue or an election civil rights violation issue regarding elections, about $5 million. There's 4,000 counties in the United States. So we're talking $22 billion if we had to try this lawsuit. Or Paul, you had to try this lawsuit in each county. About 22 billion. Okay? We're looking at what? 20, 30, 40, 50 million if it's argued in the federal court alone.
I mean, I don't think that's unreasonable at all. I mean, you got to take discovery against all of these defendants. I mean, so you got to send them written discovery, document production. You got to have a team review those documents. You got to take depositions. You got to have a team review those depositions. I mean, and then you got to respond to discovery too.
Let me ask you
So-
a question as an attorney.
Yeah.
If you had a witness, if you're the AG, okay, and you had a witness came up and handed the documentation, literally served you the lawsuit that you have right now in front of you, okay, and you were the AG and you didn't act on it, would the person who gave that to you have a right to be mad at you? Knowing that you as a federal prosecutor had unlimited funds to be able to argue this case, would you feel betrayed?
Sorry, I'm not sure I understand the question.
Okay, it's a complicated one, and it's one that I'm looking at personally because I did give Barr documentation. He came out a few days later and said, "I never saw this," and this side. And where I'm sitting here now, 3 months into this, trying to help.
He could have done it on the government.
He could have done it on the
Oh,
government. He could have done it on a government check. And now you and I and John and a
I
few
see
other
what you're
people are sitting here trying to figure out how to get USA America,
How to do his job.
How to do his job.
USA
Yeah.
America to come out of their pocket, which they would have been out of the pocket if AG Barr had been doing it.
Right.
How to
Okay.
do the job that he was getting paid to do, and we're trying to figure out how to do it without
Yeah.
getting paid.
Well, yeah, what we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out how to do the job of the federal government
Yeah.
by simply saying, can you please help us through not-for-profits and for-profits and other stuff when everybody's going to say, well, lawsuits don't matter, they don't work.
It's incredibly ironic because the whole idea behind the Civil Rights Acts was that the federal government is the one who's supposed to protect our rights against the state government. And now we don't even have that.
All right.
So what do we, this is our only option. We have to raise a grassroots movement and fund it that way.
And that's what makes the $90 million to BLM relevant.
Do you think that's why you're getting so much pushback?
Why, what do I think, what's why I'm getting so much pushback?
The fact that we're pursuing this.
Yeah, because it's
and-
upsetting their little gravy train.
Yeah, I mean, we're not, we're not suing puppies here, guys.
No.
You know, these people are dangerous.
When you look at the money raised by Sidney Powell and Rudy
We need-
Giuliani
we
and
need-
Black Lives Matter,
Well, hold on a second. We don't just need money for legal expenses and things like that. We need security, guys.
Yeah.
Well,
That's for sure.
People disappear when they do stuff like what we're doing.
Yeah, I don't want to go off on that deep.
I'm
end,
just
'cause
saying, man.
I know,
these
it's a
people aren't-
it's
we're
a
not
definite
playing,
concern. It's a
and neither
definite
are
concern.
they.
Well, Josh has gotten attacked. You've gotten attacked. I've gotten attacked. John's the only
Nobody
one right.
messes with me, but that's a whole.
Yeah, because you were Chuck Norris' stunt double, and that makes you the toughest man on the planet.
Yeah.
But when you look at this seriously, folks, Black Lives Matter, Sidney Powell, and Rudy Giuliani all raised more than enough money to do 3/4 of this lawsuit, and they haven't put a dime back anywhere relevant.
The first thing that I thought when I saw these violations, and because Steve, I mean, you were the one that noticed it, and you gave me the information. I made it legal. I figured out where the legal violations were and where the legal arguments and causes of action were. But the first thing I thought when I reviewed this was, why didn't Giuliani and Sidney Powell
Right.
do
How,
this?
how did nobody see this?
This
right?
is so
Yeah.
simple. It's so simple.
Well, it's kind of like Bernie Sanders.
Well, because
Bernie-
it didn't involve putting Trump back in office.
Right.
is
Well,
why.
that's I guess that.
Well, no,
is.
when
That's
you,
the only reason I can think of.
the problem is Harry Truman was broke in politics.
Mm-hmm.
What I really think is funny is Bernie Sanders has run for president twice, and last time he bought an Audi R8 after he ran in 2016 with campaign contributions.
Wow.
I look at stuff like that and shake my head because as a corporate officer, that's just fraud. I could never justify doing that with company monies or anything else. And the fact is,
Forget
these
about
people.
the mansions he bought.
Yeah. When you look at this stuff, you look at Nancy Pelosi's mansion in San Francisco, and you understand the fact she'll go, well, my husband bought that, but your husband was broke until you got into Congress, and now he's worth a bunch of money because of the endorsements and the governmental contracts and everything else you got. This is the nepotism.
Yeah.
This is the nepotism of the defendants. We need to come up with a term. It's not the partisan enterprises. It's not these. We need to come up with a term with these defendants have been engaged in acts of fraud and crime for so long that it is their prime way to make money. And the reason they didn't want to have Trump around for the second term is because he was going to drain the swamp. Yep. Now, Trump ran in 2016, I'm going to drain the swamp, and you know what? I think in the second term he would have. But the fact is, this is not a Trump lawsuit. It wouldn't put him back in office anyway.
That's right.
The goal is to get a new election, correct?
To get a new election, and if
he
Trump
chooses to run, yeah.
now let's say we win and we get a new congressional election, and we do have an argument. I think we're going to add Biden and Harris directly because I think we actually have a good argument for that we've developed. And but let's just assume that's not true. Let's assume we just get a new congressional election, which is what we're asking for right now. Trump could run as a congressman, and he could get elected, and
Become Speaker of the House.
Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
And by default, it's 3 U.S.C. 19 has all those succession laws. Technically, right now, I tell people it's kind of shocking. I think Patrick Leahy's supposed to be actual acting president right now because it says if the Speaker of the House, you go to Speaker of the House, then Senate pro tempore.
Right.
And Nancy Pelosi was not legitimately elected because of this. Patrick Leahy did not stand election in
Right.
2020. So
Right.
but we would still restrain him because he was part of this scheme where
The ones that came up with
they approved the
that
CARES
certified
Act
the
and they
votes.
gave all the money to the states.
Is part of the relief, or could part of the relief be to prevent people from running for election again?
I'd have to look at that. I mean, that was kind of originally in there, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly sitting here right now what the basis for that would be. So
Engagement in fraud and conduct.
I mean,
basic criminal activity block running for public office. That kind
Yeah.
of thought process. Is there anything in the books there that you know? Yeah, I know you're saying you got to look into it more, but just off the top of your head, is there anything in the books there that could be argued?
Probably, but I can't think of anything specifically just sitting here right now that would be a civil remedy for that.
It would come out of a criminal investigation.
Yeah, I mean, you could make maybe some kind of equitable argument that you need a preliminary. I mean, courts do have discretion to craft appropriate injunctive relief, so it's certainly possible. So yeah, I mean, I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility.
Okay. Well, guys, I'm glad we went long. We could. The fact is we're saying next week on the podcast we're going to be going live, and we're trying to get to an hour show so people can really carry in. And right now we're about an hour and 36 minutes.
An hour and 41 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we got 2 or 3 minutes in the front of that we got to edit off for garbage because this is our second show and we make mistakes. But the fact of the matter is, do we want to go on for a few more minutes? We want to wrap it up because Paul can always come back.
I would like to come back.
I just want to make sure that you've said everything that you feel like you want to say at this point.
I did. We didn't really get too much into the. You asked me about the Lord of the Rings thing, and then we got distracted.
Yeah,
and
go for it. Let's go to 45 minutes. That gives us 4 minutes.
The thing is, like I said, I mean, I did say this earlier. The two things that there's nothing else wrong with the lawsuit. Essentially, I explained the HAVA stuff. I explained the civil rights stuff. That is all, and those are violations of our constitutional rights because we have a right to not have our vote diluted by fraudulent ballots. We have the right to a Republican form of government. It's Article 4, Section 4. The Supreme Court says that involves the ability to elect your representatives. So the whole, I was up late writing a motion one night, and I, just thought the analogy just popped in my head. I happen to be a Lord of the Rings fan. So it's a great movie, great book. So one of my favorite books when I was a kid. A lot of people love those books. And, I thought, well, that's an example from literature where there was an illegitimate government. And it was illegitimate. It was the mythical, fictional. That's what I was trying to say. Fictional country of Gondor. And they had, the king had abdicated the throne, basically. And so they had a steward who basically preserved the government while the king was away, and so the steward would act as the steward until the return of the king. And so in my mind, I was like, well, it's not a legitimate king; it's a steward. He's kind of keeping things, running, and so I was like, well, that's what we need right now. We need and I've actually borrowed the concept itself is from receivership, like bankruptcy law and receivership law, where you have, if you have a company that's corrupt or something, or they mismanage the company, you have a receiver or a debtor in possession that would keep the company running, basically keep the status quo until, the company was reorganized. And so that would be. I said, I kind of used, you could call it a receiver. That's kind of a boring term. I called it a steward, just borrowing from literature, which is.
Well, I'm glad to know that your idea didn't come from Lord of the Rings.
No, and what's so ridiculous is if you read the articles, they all say that
Exactly.
I cited Lord of the Rings. Like I cited it like it was some kind of legal authority, which is ridiculous. Because the fact is, lawyers use literary analogies all the time.
Well, that's why I wanted you to touch on this, because
Yeah.
they're misleading people to make it look like you're nuts.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like I cited it like it was a law. I'm like, no.
Well, the tactical discreditation is a propaganda piece that go back and read Goebbels. It's a Nazi propaganda head. His book on propaganda.
Yeah.
You go back and read that.
Of course, being a white supremacist,
I would like to
of
state,
course,
I
we're
would
all
like to
very
state
familiar with
that I
him,
would
right?
like to
'Cause we're all
state that Goebbels
fascist.
does not represent the
Right,
views or
that's-
opinions of this broadcast.
My father
joke,
father was a history professor, and he made me read this stuff growing up
You
as a
have to
kid.
read it. You gotta know your
have to
history.
read this stuff because those who do not understand history are doomed to repeat the failures of history. Is what I grew up getting beaten into my head, well, not literally, figuratively. Growing up, so I've read stuff. I've read the Communist Manifesto. I've read Goebbels' books on propaganda. I've read the records of Stott, Hitler's banker. I've read Mein Kampf. I've read the Federalist Papers. I read. I didn't have a TV for 25 years, and I still don't have one turned on in my house. Mm-hmm. The fact is, it's not that hard to read and become intelligent. We need to get away from the devices and stop listening to people who are talking heads that have nothing but air between their ears.
Yeah,
and
worked for Lincoln.
Yep. Lincoln, most people don't understand that it wasn't all that long ago, in the 20s, before the 1920s, you became self-educated by reading as much as you could. Thomas Jefferson, his library at Monticello is amazing. Okay? Did he go to professional school? Yes.
By the way.
Oh, wow.
Your dad's side?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, figured. Okay.
Apparently he liked Native Americans.
Well, anyway, when you look at this, don't be afraid to pick up something and read. If it's controversial, it's still relevant. You don't have to believe everything you read. You just read it for information and go, oh, that's kind of cool. Or it's not, it's disgusting, or whatever. And you can take it part of it and you learn something from it. We're somewhere in the future. And a lot of the content you're going to see coming out of M90 is because people are so well read.
Yeah. Well, and you better do it while you can, by the way, because they've already started banning books. They pulled now you can't get Dr. Seuss because it costs you a fortune, And I was actually thinking.
How is Dr. Seuss racist anyway?
What's the
Well, it's because they
I
have
don't
pictures of people sitting on elephants with turbans, and they think that that's racist. It's like it's a depiction of a culture.
Yeah.
And not to mention it's not real.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wait a second. I thought I saw Bluehoo out there earlier.
Yeah.
And before the show we were talking, I said as a child, the concept of how arbitrary discrimination based on skin color was kind of impressed upon me. And nobody really explained this to me, but I read was it the Sneetches?
The Sneetches,
yeah, the one where they had the stars.
Star-bellied
the star-bellied Sneetches.
Or
That was
star-bellied snitch or sneetch
something
or
like that.
yeah.
Anyway, the whole concept was they were discriminating against each other because some had stars and some didn't. And you, as a child, you're reading that and you're like, well, that's just stupid. But that's what we do with skin color, and it's so arbitrary, and it's completely
I
ridiculous.
think that might be one of the reasons they're attacking it, because it is relatively simple
yes.
truth to understand.
Exactly. No,
And
that's
in order
exactly right.
in order to have everybody continue to drink the Kool-Aid, they have to be the people who out there who are trying to keep you from using your brain
Right.
and giving you everything in your mouth that you should be saying. The people that troll us, the people who make threats, the people who make false allegations, all this other stuff. Those people, quite frankly, in my opinion, have never had an original thought.
And you'll notice that they left the Lorax alone because that speaks to
The
environmental
yeah.
stuff, and it also speaks to masks because I believe that is referring to the need, which is something that everyone needs.
Here's a wow. Here's a thought though. Okay,
I'm
this
just saying, nobody needs a mask, but everybody's wearing one.
I posted this on my Parler earlier this week or all my social media. The H.R. 5, and I haven't read the whole bill, but that's the Equality Act, and I understand that there are penalties if you, discriminate against LGBTQ people. Now, it occurs to me that the Bible actually says that homosexual sex is a sin. Mm-hmm. That's in Romans 1,
Yes.
And it talks about
Clearly.
and
not only in Romans 1, it's in
and
several
elsewhere.
places.
Oh yeah, it's in several places. I was just using that's the most
Yeah.
salient example from the New Testament, but and then the Old Testament it says God created male and female, and so how long do you think it'll be if this H.R. 5 passes before publishers are going to start getting sued under that? I don't know what the exact mechanism is, but it seems like you could get sued maybe for publishing the Bible.
Yeah.
What's really funny is I'm sitting here listening, going, when I hear you both talk about Romans, I'm like, oh God, now the next soundbite's going to come out from the trolls out there is that both Paul and John are anti-homosexual and those other things. Oh God, here we go. Here's the next Roman trolls that you're a homosexual hater.
Right. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. You're a homosexual hater?
I have had several. Again, it's like I've had so many homosexual friends. I mean, I don't care. I do not care. I believe that what the Bible says. I don't think that is the way. God. I don't think that was God's perfect will.
So what you're saying basically is you're not judgmental.
No.
And you're accepting what people want to do, but the fact is they have their own relationship with God and can go that way.
Exactly.
Hate the sin, love the sinner.
Well, the point that really drives me crazy.
Because we're all sinners.
The point that
we're
really
all
drives me
sinners.
crazy is the fact is if you say one thing that even remotely gets somebody in a situation, they go, wait a second, what did you say? That automatically you're damned and they're perfect. But the
Yeah.
fact of the matter is, I think the three of us have sat around this table for a long period of time. We've sat around multiple tables and had conversations, and in no way, shape, or form has there ever been a judgmental conversation where there's ever been like ridiculing somebody,
Yeah.
other than the three of us, each other between friends. But when you look at the rhetoric, okay, the fact of the matter is you have three men that are sitting at a table here that respect other people's rights.
Exactly.
And all we're saying is that our rights need to be respected as well.
Yeah. Why is that so hard to ask?
Yeah, and
Why
it's-
is that?
that's asking a lot, man, 'cause,
it's that
yeah.
simple. And the fact of the matter is, if you think your rights are superior to someone else's, guess what? You're going to eventually get into a fight, and you're going to lose eventually.
That is so true. And what's so funny, what's so ridiculous about this, okay, well, how can you love a homosexual if you're saying they're going to hell? If you believe in a book that says they're going to hell? I'm like, okay, well, I mean, you don't believe in the book, right? It's pretty much fiction to you. So they're not, so what difference does it make? I happen to believe
How can
it's
you be
true.
offended by something you don't believe in?
Yeah, how can you be offended by something you don't believe? And it says, and the Bible says, I'm still supposed to love you, but no matter what.
Well, what's crazy is
Right.
what crazy is people.
Okay, let me throw one out there that really gets me in trouble a lot of times. See,
Oh,
I
Jesus.
believe in a God, okay, who's pro-choice. He wants us to choose him and his will and his way. He is pro-choice.
Yeah.
But he doesn't make us do it.
That's right.
And let me tell you something. If you worship a God that makes you worship him,
That's not a God.
you need
not,
to back up and take another look at that God, because that ain't God.
Right.
Well, when you
Exactly.
look at this, we're talking about that's what's some subject that I really didn't want to ever talk about.
I'm
on a
sorry.
podcast is
I
religion.
just, you
No,
know,
the fact
I'm
is,
not going
you're gonna talk
to
about
avoid anything.
the
Man.
Bible.
No,
At this point,
no.
at this point, the reason our country's going down the toilet is because people are kicking God out of the courthouse and out of the schoolhouse and everywhere else. If you take violence off television and prayer out of schools, you end up with violence in your schools and prayer on television.
Yeah.
I agree with all of those points. And sitting here saying there's subjects that you can and cannot talk about because people are so incensed about other things. So you when you're trying to accomplish a mission, you talk about a few things until you win people's hearts and minds over, and then you bring in other conversations.
Then you
and say,
slam them. Right?
Well, no, that's the stuntman in you. Okay, you come in and you start having other conversations as you build a rapport that you guys can agree or disagree on certain things where people are de-escalated their tensions.
Yeah.
Okay, and sitting here and talking about religion, all three of us are professed Christians.
Mm-hmm.
We all three have pray. We didn't pray before this podcast, which
I
we usually
did,
do.
but I
He
should've prayed
did.
with y'all.
You should have prayed with all.
I prayed this morning. But, you know.
Thanks for cutting us out of the prayer, Paul.
Oh,
Appreciate
sorry.
it. Okay.
I was too busy fixing my hair, making sure it wasn't sticking up. in
He's
weird
not played with
places.
his curls once yet. Yet. But when you look at the Bible, it's very clear there is one judge. And he ain't sitting at this table. Well, he may be,
Yeah, I was going to say he's
Okay.
sitting in 3 seats.
but he's not. We're not that judge. And what drives me just ridiculously angry is everyone out there who's making a judgmental statement, who's a troll or attacking the good works that somebody else does, or Josh James, talking Josh James. These things are all people who are standing there acting as judges over other human beings when they don't have the right to do it.
That's right.
So what we're talking about is judgment and rights and respect.
Yeah.
Well, when somebody says, "Oh, you think somebody's going to go to hell?" I mean, that's not my job.
Yeah.
That is not
No,
my job.
all I know
That's
is
not
all I know
my
is
call.
all I know is I've been divorced twice, and if hell is anything worse than a divorce, I don't want to go there.
The fact is, the Constitution says that we have freedom of religion. It doesn't
Right.
say we
Not
have
freedom from religion.
freedom of sexuality. So I mean, it's like it's just interesting that is being elevated now over the freedom of religion.
Yeah.
That's just it's
Well,
not
Paul,
in the Constitution.
John, working in the entertainment industry, we know you have gay friends.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul.
Lots of them.
I know you have gay friends, and I have gay friends.
Yeah.
Don't take that funny, people. The fact is, matter, I know this man pretty well. We've had pretty good conversations about that. So,
Now
Yeah.
what's interesting is
Small spoon.
I had some fairly close gay friends until the media came in and said everybody who supports Donald Trump is a homophobe, which is absolutely false. And then all of a sudden I don't have as many gay friends because they all think I'm a homophobe. which
Okay, now
is
wait a minute.
Does
that mean that you're afraid of them?
No,
Yeah.
good lord.
Well, I mean, that's such a silly statement. A homophobe. I mean,
my gosh.
I'm not afraid of you.
there's very few. There's.
I know,
Okay,
right?
for the record,
Yeah.
personally,
You're
there's
not
very
a spider.
personally there's very few things on this planet that I'm really afraid of. I can tell you directly, homosexuals are not one of them. Are you afraid of them?
No.
Are you?
Me neither, no.
No. Okay, so for the record,
I'm not an Islamophobe either. Not
no,
afraid of that.
no. So for the record, we're not afraid of gays and we're not afraid of Arabs. Are we afraid of gay Arabs?
Well, they pretty much take care of themselves.
That's true. Not afraid of them either.
Are they a member of a sort of ISIS?
Yeah, we might have to do
That
some
might be a
editing
little
here.
scary.
But
No,
that's
I'm
okay.
not doing any editing. I refuse. No, I
We're
refuse
an hour
editing.
and 55 minutes. We got plenty of time to edit stuff out.
No, not doing any editing at all on this. We're gonna go up. We're gonna go up. We're gonna go raw. We're gonna go up, but raw footage of
Hey,
it.
we'll probably get a giant audience out of it. It just might not be the audience.
The fact of the matter is, if we've said anything in this podcast that has upset you, it isn't us. It's you.
Yeah.
Amen.
The fact of the matter is, I've had death threats this week. Paul's had all kinds of crazy stuff. John's had crazy stuff. And we're still sitting here smiling and laughing and joking around this. Dude, still brave enough to do this podcast. So if you hate us for some reason, you're only wasting your own life because we don't care.
Something that was said to me a while ago about offense that really made sense was, if somebody says something to you that's not true and it offends you, why are you offended if it's not true? And if somebody says something to you that is true that offends you, then why are you offended if it's true?
Ooh, relevant truth.
Wow.
Relevant
Well, the funny thing is, I can't.
Wait a
be
second,
canceled
relevant truth
anymore.
alert. Wah, wah.
The great thing is now I can't be canceled because I've already been canceled. So
There you
what
go.
else
You
they
are
gonna do to me?
you are cancel proof, man.
What else they
Wait a
gonna do to me?
second. I was canceled before canceled was even cool.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like
Okay.
you're like the airplane that crashed into the house in what was that movie, Life of
Brian?
World according
the
to
World According to Garp.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were out shopping for houses, and the airplane crashes into the house, and he says, "We'll take it." They say, "What do you mean?" He says, "That'll never happen again."
Disaster proof.
That is funny.
Okay. We are going to wrap this up. We
Yeah.
are now at damn near 2 hours.
Two
Could
hours.
we do like 2 episodes? Like
we can break it up into two episodes, maybe even break it up into 4 episodes.
No, we'll just load this up as one. We'll just because we're
nobody's
not.
going to watch 2 hours of this.
Exactly.
Well, the fact of the matter is, I'm going to put it up and we can snippet it because the fact is we always said we were going to put up exactly what happened.
Oh yeah, but we can just cut it up and put it up in
Yeah, let's just
pieces
do
rather
put-
than like a whole.
You do
thing.
part. You do episode whatever.
Get
part
people
two,
interested.
Part 1, part 2.
We probably
do
show
that
this
all the
last
time.
part first because that's what's going to get people. Did
What's-
you hear that? You got to go
What's
watch
really
that.
funny is he is the post-production guy. So yeah, when this is all packaged up,
Yep. And I can put some cool background behind him on the green screen. You know.
Can you put me in Gondor?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Absolutely.
okay, Paul, I'm gonna end up. So, how old are you?
I am 39 years old.
Okay, he's not 20. Okay,
But
He
thank
just-
you.
He
Thank
just
you.
looks it. He's almost 40. Yeah, he's almost 40.
Yep.
Okay, so the fact is you are single.
I am
So
single.
you're single and ready
Yes,
to mingle.
I am.
Are you
single
doing?
and-
Are you doing the Cuomo thing here? You're
the Cuomo
the
thing?
love gov.
Oh God.
No.
No,
I'm not
no.
going to
do the- don't
associate
do the
myself with
Cuomo
that
thing.
guy.
Yeah, that's.
There's
I
no
gotta set up the
respect
next
for it.
troll movement.
Hey, there
Okay.
you go.
Paul Davis is now suing the American public so he can get girls.
I mean, I wouldn't be above that.
You know what? Law school attendance just shot sky high.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of guys out there going, wait a second, I can get chicks going to law school? Hey.
You mean
No.
chicks dig it?
No. Stuntmen, maybe?
Nah.
No?
Nah.
They only go for the actors, huh?
No, they go for the stunt guys. I was just married the whole time I was doing
Oh.
stunt work, so I didn't really get to experience that.
And I can tell you right, frankly, people don't go for elderly guys like me. So the fact is, we're cool there. But anyway, yeah,
Yeah, cool. It's
Yeah.
all good.
Good show.
it's all
Um,
good.
I
So-
did you want to cue like the intro stuff at the end? Or?
Oh, hell, why not? Okay, guys, this is episode 2 of the M90. No, it's
Yeah,
about the Republic
It's
show.
about the Republic show.
We've had special
go.
guest Paul Davis on. Went way too long today.
It's shocking.
And the fact is he can come back.
Amen.
Check in next week. We're going to have another guest. We're not going to tell you right now, but we're going to be talking about other things. And we're going to try to keep being relevant. And if you have any comments or questions,
Keep
don't
it to yourself.
No,
Okay.
don't keep them to yourself. If you're a troll, keep your opinion to yourself because I really don't care. I'm going to say it again. I'm Steve. I don't care. And you can send stuff to info@M90USA.com. You can click the like and subscribe button. You can give us the thumbs down. You can hate us for all I care because the fact of the matter is still people watching the show.
And I'm John, and I care deeply.
Good. I'm the part that cares and he's the part that doesn't care. You guys have a good one. Semper Fi.
Thank you for watching No, It's About the Republic Show. And stay tuned next time when we put Steve in the hot seat and welcome Paul Davis as our guest host.